When weighing the decision to do business in China, it's easy to become enamored with the market potential that 1.2 billion people possess. It is also easy to become enamored with the wealth of cheap labor resources. For this presentation, we will be evaluating China in the context of Waterdog Surf, an environmentally and socially responsible surf brand that is considering expanding its business into China. Waterdog Surf is a clothing company that currently sells its products here in Southern California and is interested in making their products available in China. While garment manufacturing in the US requires heavy investment in machinery and equipment, the same tasks can be done by Chinese workers at a lower cost. This cheap labor is clearly more attractive with fewer upfront costs and a faster return on investment. It should be noted that when looking for cheap labor and a viable market, there are other places besides China that can fulfill these requirements. The countries of Thailand, Indonesia, Mexico, India, and Brazil should also be taken into consideration. Given the size of the consumer market and the low cost of labor, it's easy to see how US businesses have become captivated with doing business in China. However, it is important to consider all of the risk factors before you go, and the final answer just might surprise you. Now, let's take a look at what some of these risks are. Geopolitical risk. Even though the US continues to grant China its most favored nation status, the relationship has become increasingly strained as the two countries compete head-to-head for global natural resources. Since China is a latecomer to this zero-sum game, it has led to some questionable and unsavory strategies on their part. For example, in exchange for oil, China provides weapons and political protection to Sudan so that it can continue its genocide in Darfur. China has also glad-handed vocal critics of the United States, such as Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez and Iranian dictator Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Indeed, China has even provided Iran with nuclear technologies in exchange for oil. China's destabilizing global influence could spell disaster for foreign companies operating in China should tensions lead to protectionism, embargoes, or even outright war. All of these geopolitical factors exacerbate our next risk, currency and exchange. To maintain its peg to the US dollar, China engages in massive currency intervention and currently holds over $1 trillion. Meanwhile, Western countries have been increasing their pressure on China to float its currency. Many believe this huge imbalance must eventually correct itself, and when it does, the dollar could plunge and the renminbi may skyrocket. This would turn China's artificial export advantage on its head and send shocks through the global markets. In particular, the companies that exchange goods and services between China and the US will be the most affected. Waterdog Surf currently purchases inputs like hemp and bamboo that are available only in China and are used in all of Waterdog's operations. To hedge against the potential for rising prices, Waterdog Surf should negotiate long-term purchasing contracts in US dollars and stock these materials in advance. Government risk. In a land where freedom of expression is suppressed and the Falun Gong have been banned by the government, the introduction of a surf brand that emphasizes social activism carries certain dangers. Human resource risk. There is a wealth of cheap labor in China, and much of it is unskilled. The biggest challenges for Waterdog Surf are wage inflation and retention of valuable employees. There is probably little that Waterdog Surf can do since these issues are part of a package deal when using cheap unskilled labor in China. Waterdog Surf should be aware that their target demographic, surfers, are concentrated along the southern coast of China. This is where economic growth has been fastest and labor is most expensive. Supply chain risk. The Chinese government is trying to develop its western regions by requiring companies to locate further inland. Should this occur, Waterdog Surf could face poor infrastructure, high transportation costs, and quality control issues. Cultural risk. Keep in mind that the culture of China has been completely isolated from the West, and the norms that have allowed for a successful business strategy in Orange County may not, and in fact will not apply in China. Oh yeah, let's not forget the environment. China has publicly declared its commitment to cleaning up the environment, which will eventually lead to tightening standards. Waterdog Surf's mission is to incorporate the latest in environmental technology, so this should not be a significant issue. In the final analysis, if Waterdog Surf decides to enter the Chinese market, it will face risks and challenges that outweigh the benefits. We offer Waterdog Surf several recommendations on how to mitigate these risks. The first, and in many ways most complicated mitigation strategy, is the cultivation of Guanxi. Guanxi. Guanxi is a complex social network that the Chinese use to achieve their goals. The development of Guanxi in key levels of government and business can help insulate Waterdog Surf from many of the challenges they will face in China. It can ease the risk of sudden and unpredictable changes in government policy, smooth the cultural learning curve, as well as help in finding solutions to many of the supply chain and human resource issues. While Guanxi can act as an umbrella insurance policy of sorts, there are some things that will simply be out of Waterdog Surf's control, like geopolitical risk. Therefore, it is important to limit exposure by engaging only in activities with relatively short return on investment. Doing so also limits currency risk by limiting the amount of money that is tied up in foreign markets. When you add all of these unique risks of doing business in China with a limited target market for Waterdog Surf's products, we conclude that Waterdog Surf should not enter China at this time. We recommend instead that Waterdog Surf look to other countries that offer cheap labor with the added benefit of high tourism and big surf destinations such as Thailand, Indonesia, Mexico, India, and Brazil. I'm Dave Lee. Thanks very much for listening.